Ladies and gentlemen, this is Georgia Movie So Awesome. I'm Joe.
I'm One Jin.
Today we're going to talk about Guardian of the Galaxy Volume 3. Spoilers ahead. Major movie spoilers.
Major movie spoilers.
Please come back later after you watch it. Here we go. Yo. Wow. Just wow. I haven't had such a great experience watching a movie theater in a while. And this movie had everything. It had a great story. It had a lot of emotions. Some tragedy. Some comedy.
Also great music, as always.
Great music. James Gunn. And man, what a theme. Like, Martin Scorsese once called Marvel films like, theme park ride. This was an amazing theme park ride, if there ever was. I mean, the 2 hours and 30 minutes felt like an hour and 30 minutes. It moved on really fast. And, out of all the three Guardian movie, this one was like the darkest one, too.
Yeah.
It was really heavy with that Rocket storyline.
Yeah. I'm glad that this movie had Rocket's character arc as its, the main storyline. And it also gave us a lot of depth on other characters as well. Characters like
because in Volume 2 it was about Peter.
Yeah, and his father.
But here we finally answered the question of Rocket's origin, and it's much more terrifying than I thought.
Oh, we have our visitor.
Oh, Lucas, how you been, man? Welcome back. We've been keep doing this. Once we get a logo for our YouTube channel, we will blow up. And Barros Lucas will be, we're going to have a screenshot of our most loyal subscriber. And we're going to put you up there. Thank you so much, man. Yeah, we're doing great. We're in, me and Wenjin, we're based in Seoul. So it's like close to 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. now. How you doing, man? But we're going to talk about Galaxy 3. So if you haven't watched it, come back later. But, if you did watch it, let's talk about it. For me, there was definitely some Frankenstein and Dr. Moreau vibe there.
Yeah.
The experimentation and stuff. And I think that's what makes it really horrifying than the ones before. I love the villain in this one, High Evolutionary. I like how how we always criticize Marvel villains as one-dimensional.
Yeah, basically they're like cardboard boxes.
No, but
this very flat.
No, but this High Evolutionary is also one-dimensional, but he's complete psycho. I like how he's terrifying because of his mentality. Just like in Peacemaker, why Peacemaker's father is terrifying is because of his beliefs and mentality.
Yeah. What was it, the White Dragon or something?
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, man. Hey, we're gonna have a lot of spoiler talk, so hey, we highly recommend the movie.
Yeah.
Come back later.
Never give up, guys. Keep doing it. Yeah, we're gonna keep this up for a
week.
long time.
Yeah, until we get 1 million subscribers. Thank you so much. Hey, thank you for the shout out, man. But I felt like that's what makes High Evolutionary terrifying. One of the most horrible scenes for me was when he got angry, and in his a little bit of manic state, he goes to Rocket's cage. Yeah, and says, "How did you
figure
this out?" And he brings him out and humiliates him.
Yeah.
It's it's always in a superhero movie. I think it's always the emotional violence that is scarier than the physical violence, because we're already seeing Superman-like powers from them.
Yeah.
So those things are not a surprise, but when you hit them mentally, that hurts more. And his humiliation was really, really savage.
And what's even more horrible was that clearly Rocket and his buddies, they're all just children. Basically, in human terms, they're like toddlers. They're like kindergartners. They're just little kids. And they're put to so much abuse, and yet they're not in full understanding of how much of an abuse that they're going through.
The childlike innocence, right?
Yeah, and it's so sad.
And you know what's sad about the High Evolutionary? Like, if you make something like Rocket, I would fundamentally, like, question my project. Why are you making these Animen when you just created a being that can invent stuff? Like, because, like, watching the movie, you realize that the High Evolutionary himself is sort of flawed. Like, his vision for a perfect world is flawed. Is because you can't help yourself asking two questions like, what do you mean by perfect, though? Because you made a great being right here. Like, what does this Animan has over Rocket?
And I think that's a great point, because as the Guardians travel through that planet, what was it, anti-Earth or something? What was it called?
Like Counter-Earth.
Counter-Earth, okay, Counter-Earth. They see the same problems of Earth. You see, like, these Animen or whatever they're called, like, dealing drugs in the alleyways and stuff. So how is that ever perfect?
No, and here's another thing, Wenjin. I think you're going to agree. The theme of the Guardian of the Galaxy is that it's the inner beauty that matters. Remember in Volume 2, when Mantis and Drax first meet up? Drax says, "You're a hideous creature. Why would he choose you as a pet? You're so ugly to look at. But near the end, you're beautiful in the inside." And Rocket, Groot, and Drax, they're all, like, in a way, weirdos as we would see it, right? But here, think about what the High Evolutionary makes. He's really good at making the facade of the world. Even the Sovereigns, right? Yeah. It's the outer beauty, right? Like, I feel like he doesn't understand the soul part of it.
I don't know. I think I have a different interpretation of the theme. Because in my opinion, I thought the theme of this movie was accepting, like,
who you are?
Yeah, accepting us as we are, accepting the flaws. Because it doesn't only happen with Rocket and High Evolutionary, but we also see the conversation between Mantis and I think it was Nebula, like getting angry over Drax. And Mantis defends Drax. And basically she's like lashing out and asking Nebula, why can't you accept him as who he is? And also the same thing happens between what's his name, Star-Lord and Gamora. He just can't let go of his memory of Gamora, and he just keeps saying things like the Gamora I knew would have never done this. The Gamora I knew was not like this. She was not a Ravager and blah 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 blah. No, just accept her as what she is, because she's not the Gamora that you knew. She's different. Yeah, but so they just fail to just accept, like, others as they are.
No, but, like, I agree with you. That's actually a good point. And Gamora points that out to Peter. What are you so afraid of that I need to be, you know, like, she lashes out, like, be something to you. And then she also... And back to your Mantis line, it's about people with trauma, though. Because Mantis says this, he's the only one that Drax doesn't hate himself. He has a sadness about him, because the other characters are, like, dealing with their difficulty of life, that part of them hate themselves, right? Because we've seen this consistently with Rocket. Remember in, like, Volume 1, he's like, you know, they made me, like, he gets into a drunk fight with Drax, and they made me experiment. You call me vermin, you call me she called me whatever, and he gets angry. And in Episode 2, Rocket says, like, everybody, he acts like an asshole, so everybody keeps saying, like, why is your goal for everybody to hate you? And Yondu points it out, right? You act tough, but it's because you hate yourself. Because you and me, boy. And then Yondu has this awesome line. Yeah. And then, like, that was I felt like, so in a way, I guess Rocket's storyline has been building up too.
Yeah, and we also see his conversation with Thor in the Endgame. Remember, he goes back in time. Thor meets his mother again. Then he has his, like, panic attack, and Rocket's like, "Come here," and then he slaps him in the face. And then he, like, gives him that lessons, like, there's a lot of people counting on us. We lost a lot of people, and blah 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 blah. It kind of now helps you understand him more.
Yeah, I mean,
and see where that's coming from.
Basically, this is like a crescendo for Rocket, because I feel like Peter's crescendo was in Infinity War, and this is the aftermath. This is like a denouement. Yeah, like, this is like the after the high climax.
It's the basically like the resolution.
Yeah, resolution. But in Rocket, we're seeing his climax here too. I feel like his high point where we finally get to see his inner central conflict, which is manifested as these like, but I gotta, hats off to the fucking villain design and everything.
Yeah,
I love how like sick it was. Like you mentioned those like animals, right? They give me a lot of Tim Burton vibes, man.
Yeah.
A lot of
Tim Burton, and also it reminded me of what I saw in what's that animation thing? Well, was it an animation? Was
Tim Burton's the first one?
No, the one that James Cameron participated in.
Avatar?
No. Alita, Battle Angel. Remember that? That
yeah.
like half human, half machine kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also reminded me a lot of that.
I think James Gunn is definitely a fan of Japanese anime because we get a lot of those like 80s and 96 shit vibe.
Yeah, and also reminded me a lot of the Ninja Turtles.
Really?
Because the Ninja Turtles, the villain, like the big giant robot that is controlled by like this like brain looking kind of thing, villain thing.
Yeah.
And we have the big rhino and the pig and
because the otter having those arms and the teeth having his eyes pulled out, like these are really brave choices. Because even though they look like that, I felt so like sympathetic towards them.
And I think it's because of the voices. The voice actors did a terrific job for sounding so innocent.
When they were lying down and Teeth was like, "Hey guys, since you are all my best friend, I just wanted to know that I was thinking." And that's the end. Like they're like, "Thank you."
They're so adorable.
And the rabbit is like, "I'm lying on the floor, so I'm a floor."
Oh.
So you want to talk about that first? When Rocket made that key and escape and Lilac got shot and Rocket made that heartbreaking scream.
It was like half scream, half cry.
And then Floor kept saying, Floor and Teeth, Rocket, go now. Floor and Teeth, fucking go now. And Teeth going, "No, Rocket, just go," with this voice. I teared up, man.
Yeah.
That was... And I have never... this is weird. I have never been so satisfied with a violent scene like this. Rocket was tearing High Evolutionary's face off. I was like, fuck
yeah.
As soon as High Evolutionary, he mocked him, I was like, you going down.
I was kind of sad because, Rocket could have finished him right there. That's what he should have done. He should have just picked up the pistol and just like shot him right there and then...
No, but I don't think Rocket was a killer yet. Remember, he's just he
was still innocent.
Yeah, he was just basically a child witnessing tragedy for the first time. And my God.
Yeah, and back to the design of the High Evolutionary. It reminded me a lot of like an evil RoboCop because RoboCop. What was his name? Like Malcolm or something? What was his real name? James Monroe or I don't know. But he had like his like human face. Kind of like pulled all the way to like the side of his face and everything. That's what reminded me of him.
You know what's so funny though? Like I felt like the villain was a little bit stupid though. Because like if you can create whole civilization, if you're gonna upgrade yourself, don't just give yourself gravity powers, man. Give yourself like Hulk skin and shit. Right. What the fuck? I was like, dude, you can manipulate beings to accelerate their evolution by millions of years, and you gave yourself gravity powers. I was like, what? Like if I was Dr. Moreau, I would just like upgrade myself into a beast. But it's small flaws. No, but like overall, like I even love the Hellspawn designs. I love those animal and robot hybrids.
Yeah, I also love that warthog that attacked
the war pig
attacked Gamora in their ship. I loved how different the voice is from the being itself.
What they look like.
I think I saw in the end credit the war pig was voiced by Judy Greer, which is very surprising.
That's interesting.
Yeah, there was. Very interesting choice.
Yeah.
So there was like that mismatch of voice and the being itself.
Yeah.
And we gotta mention that new character, Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
Because I think in the comics he has a very different role and also a very different characteristic. Because in this Guardians of the Galaxy 3, he was playing a very minor role.
Well, if you're gonna talk about, I don't know about the comics, his role, but he was.
I think in the comics, he's like one of the key characters in ending the Infinity War.
No, but like here, he's the weakest. I felt like the Sovereign. Well, it wasn't so. It wasn't. I'm not. It was. It was done reasonably, but I would say he's the most minor character.
Yeah, and he was also kind of like a child.
Yeah, the best character is of course Nebula.
Man, I love Nebula in this one.
I love how Nebula is basically the new Gamora.
Yeah,
and the past Gamora is basically Nebula when we first met her. It's like a reverse change because one of my favorite scenes is the hostage scene.
Yeah.
Gamora's like, everybody on the ground, like, everybody, and then Peter's like, that's your plan? And then Gamora's like, shoot this carrot face to show us we mean business. Like, she's a total gangster. No mercy. And
now that she's a Ravager.
Oh, and I love the Peacemaker and what's that DC movie? Suicide Squad. Like people making a cameo.
Yeah, and I think they did the same thing in DC as well. James Gunn took Mantis. Mantis was one of the dancers in I think the Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and what's his name? James Gunn's girlfriend, or is she now a wife?
I don't know. But she's like the calm director.
Yeah, she was one of the agents in Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad. Now she was running the closed circuit cameras and the security systems. And
Ura she's like the rat fucker, right? The rat catcher 2.0. And I love the Orthcopes, like their I love their suit.
Yeah.
And when Sylvester Stone like they're the most terrifying forces, and then they show a scene of them hovering around in that fucking silly looking suit because they have to camouflage with the organs. I was like, man, that's so dumb and smart at the same time. They do not look that fierce at all, but that was funny.
Yeah.
That was funny.
That was a great idea though. Like the entire planet or the facility kind of like being covered in skin.
Yeah, the cameras are actual eyes. Yeah, that's funny. Oh man.
Although I'm thinking that it might be a little disturbing to children.
Another favorite gag was when I'm Groot and then Gamora is like, what? Huh?
And then like
you guys are making this shit up, right?
20 minutes later, she eventually starts understanding.
Like later at the end, yeah. At the beginning, she's like, huh? What?
Stop saying that.
Yeah, I know you're Groot, and then she's like, you guys are just making this up because Groot tells Mantis how they escaped. Mantis like, oh, you mean jumping out of it is a good plan? And Gamora's like, you guys are just making shit up. That he says, right?
And also another point I love was when Drax was like revealed to be able to, he was able to communicate with those children, like Joop Joop, blah 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 blah, and all the other Guardians are like surprised, like, why didn't you tell us earlier? It's like, you never asked.
Yeah. And Nebula gives her this like fuck you face. The gags were amazing. Even the car gag was amazing.
Yeah.
How do you open this? Open the fucking door.
This frustration.
Yeah. Oh man. I had a jolly good time with this one.
Oh, and also the part where Drax like hits the girl with the ball. Like the moment they arrive on Counter Earth, everybody's like upset. It's like, oh my god, what's going on? And they're all kind of like
panicked.
Yeah, they're panicked and concerned, and they're trying to show that they mean no harm. And Drax just had to like throw that ball to her face.
Yeah, it's funny how those Animen acted exactly like human beings on Earth. Also, another thing is, I love Groot's design too. He looks different from the first Groot we saw.
He's I think he's like a lot more buff.
Yeah.
And then also I love the scene in the beginning where he has the fight with Adam Warlock. His entire body's gone, basically only his head, but then he's able to regenerate everything. And I also love the sequence where Star-Lord and Groot infiltrates the ship of the High Evolutionary, and Groot pulls out those guns. He's got like 8 arms or something. That was a badass moment.
I mean, the action was great.
Yeah. Oh, and we gotta mention the action sequence in the hallway. That was awesome. Like every character, I think it very colorfully express like how I mean the strength of each of these characters, especially 5 minutes before, like, it's when they released the hell spawns and we expect them to be like these like ultimate killers and everything, but then turns out that against the Guardians they're not big of a deal. And I also love the part where Nebula gets her neck broken and she just like heals herself.
Yeah, I mean the individual characters were like, this is just my theory, but I feel like James Gunn really loves his characters. He's so good at giving each character a unique identity, personality, and most importantly, quirks. He gives them quirks that are like make us recognize the character. Because in a movie, unlike the Peacemaker the series, a movie has very limited screen time.
That's true.
So you can only give so much dialogue to each character to convey what they are, what they represent.
They can't afford to invest so much time on each of them.
But I feel like one of James Gunn's strengths is he's really good at just making them seem like real.
Yeah, and even Yondu and his what's his name? James Gunn's brother, Sean Gunn. What was his character's name?
Whatever.
Yeah, but using that whistle to use that pen thing.
Yeah.
Very unique. Each one of them. Oh, and Cosmo the dog. We gotta mention the dog.
Oh yeah.
That dog was adorable. I love the dog talk with like a Russian accent. And like when the dog was using the telekinesis powers, like it has that grin.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so cute. And it was like obsessed over being called a bad dog.
Like very smart, very smart.
Yeah.
Like what's funny though? I did like this movie better than Suicide Squad though. The recent one. I don't know. Like I think, just me personally, like I like James Gunn trapped in a PG-13 world though. Like not going that ultra violent. I mean, ultra violent feels good.
Yeah.
But here I felt like I like that it's a little. It has zing, but it's still family friendly.
Yeah.
And the theme is beautiful. Like that meeting at the end where the Guardians are disbanded, that was really sad.
Yeah.
Like Peter discovering and Mantis discovering themselves. Like I thought the finale was not too sentimental. I felt like the emotion there was kind of earned. We spent so much time with these characters because we cannot not mention Infinity War, because I love that Rocket, when he wakes up, the first one he's looking for is Nebula, because we know from Infinity War that like once the Guardians disappeared, Drax and Groot they turned into dust. Like Rocket and Nebula were part of the Avengers.
Yeah,
they had to spend time 5 years together to struggle, and I love how like when Nebula look at Rocket and she says this is worse than what Thanos did to me. They have a common bond.
Yeah, they have a bond.
They're both experimented on
torture.
Yeah, so they know how that feels. Oh, and I love I think James Gunn is so smart. Like when Nebula says hi to Gamora, it's, and then like no dialogue. He's really I think he did that in like Suicide Squad too. Like he always give these quirky and weirdness that makes them.
And we gotta mention the music. He always has a great choice of music for each sequence. I think this is like a forte of James Gunn, and also directors like Tarantino. Quentin always finds great music. And I love the fact that after 10 years of the first Guardians of the Galaxy, like the music choice has it's progressed from like the 70s to now like the 80s. We now have like the Beastie Boys and the movie. I mean, the movie started with Radiohead's "Creep," which was an excellent choice of music, especially regarding Rocket's character arc. I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo.
Wow.
So it was a great choice of music here.
Yeah. So much heart.
And I'm sad that this would be probably the last Marvel movie that James Gunn produces and directs.
Because he's heading over to DC?
Yeah, he's headed over to DC. Now he's going to make, I don't know, Superman and other ones.
But I do want to say this, though. I do not necessarily recommend this to children. This is like some
good point. Yeah, it's kind of dark for kids. I would say it's not exactly like PG-13. It should be like 15.
No, what's weird is like we don't like. What's so terrifying is not the on-screen violence, but what's hinted at, right? Like, that's what's terrifying about it. Because there's not really much blood. We don't actually get to see the vivisection and everything. But, like, the implied violence, it's like 007. Like, you know, everything is implied, and that was done smartly.
I don't know. I think it's kind of like teaching kids about the works of, what's his name? Dr. Mengele during World War II.
What?
Yeah, I mean, it's what's being hinted. Human experimentations.
Okay, let's talk about that in another theme.
So it is kind of disturbing for children, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think it's even worse than like physical violence, like you said.
Yeah, because there's something sinister about it, isn't it? Okay, let's too much. Okay, we'll have another day.
All right.
Let's give a number grade.
I would give this a 10.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think there really is nothing that I would.
I give this a 9. Hey, let me ask you something.
I would still give it a 10. Yeah.
Out of the 3 movies, Guardian of the Galaxy, which one's your favorite?
Oh, my favorite would still. I mean, it's difficult to favorite the third one over the first one because I mean the first one is like the one that started it all.
Really?
But in terms of, you know, like a number grade, I would still give the third one a higher number grade than the first one.
Wow, that's so different from me. My favorite is the volume 2.
Really?
Yeah.
That's like my least favorite.
No, because Kurt Russell and the daddy issue thing just completely...
I mean, the point where it started getting weird, it just unwinded too quickly. In my opinion.
It's still 2 hours and 15 minutes or something, that movie.
But it did have its own charm. I especially loved like the baby Groot. Not being able to understand like the directions and the instructions. And
remember Nebula and Gamora's fight? Gamora like getting that hand cannon. Yeah, like, okay. But let's have another day to discuss which like one is the best. But for now, I can't make up my mind. But this one was a 9. It was worth going to theaters to watch.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, thank you so much, guys. That's our take on Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Volume 3. We hope there's a Volume 4. We will be back for it. We're a big fan of James Gunn. But if this is the end, this is a great finale. We'll be back next week with our discussions over Succession finale, Barry finale, and possibly Netflix Beef. If you haven't watched it, Wonjin's done watching it. I'm watching it. Please go watch it. And
I loved it.
Anyway, if you have any other show or movie that you guys want to recommend to us, please leave it in the comments below. Press like if you like our stuff. This has been Joji Movie So Awesome. I was Joe.
I was Wonjin.
We'll see you next week. Bye.